In all things, one thing you can take to the bank is simple, that becoming is better than being. That is why we here at the Fifth Estate consider ourselves to be a work in progress. It means that you are never complete and you always have that opportunity to become someone better.
Yes, we are a work in progress. I am GW.
I am AX.
And I am your host, GK. That was an example of a mistake. Welcome to the show. Welcome, GW. Welcome back.
Thank you for having
to
me.
our political discussion episode. But before we get into the politics and all these things, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a game. And it's a game where we've been given a list of words that are here in this beautiful kathingi. And through that beautiful beautiful box, there we go. And in that box, you have to describe the word that you see with one word. And you get up to 3 chances to describe it.
Can you change the word?
Yeah.
You can change the word up to 3 times.
Okay, so
you
can
mess
build
up,
a story.
You can build a story.
So basically, if you guys don't get it, it's not my fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's your fault.
It's your fault.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So GW, why don't you begin on me?
Okay. Pause. Ooh,
We need a word.
Yeah, but
He's
these are 2 words.
trying.
Ballot.
And it's election.
Numbers.
Tyranny of numbers.
Something like that.
She said, GW said 2 words. Those are 3.
Okay. Next one.
Percentages.
What? Percentages, numbers, and election.
I said ballot.
And ballot. Vote Baba. No. You've lost me.
Try help.
Okay, can I see? Do you want me to help him? Or
help me.
Answer. Help
Okay.
him.
Answer.
Yeah.
So the clues were ballot, percentages,
and numbers.
Hasn't to do with voting, because like you perked up when he said
Vote
voting.
count.
Please give me that. It's voter turnout.
Okay. We never would have gotten that. Okay. AX, you ready?
No.
We got. I got you. Baba.
Azimio la Umoja.
Slogan.
Inawezekana.
Correct. That's how you do it. GW. Come on.
Okay.
Let's move.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Wajakoya.
Roots party.
Okay.
No, Tingiza Mti.
Yes. Tingiza Mti.
Okay.
Let's go. Degree.
I have a problem with you. Sakaja.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor guy. He should have gotten his degree.
Aida.
Is this for me?
Yes.
Okay. Wife.
Husband.
Raila Odinga.
Correct. This is how we do it, GW.
But he just gave you the
No.
last.
Hey.
I'm just.
Why are you acting
Yeah,
me?
why are you targeting him?
This is very clear. GW. This is how it's done.
Chabukati.
IBC.
Yes.
We're only lacking one because of.
Seriously.
Makakarwa.
Yes.
Okay. So, how many do we have?
The
last two. The last two.
Okay.
Okay. You ready? Date.
9th of August, 2022. August 9th, 2022.
Correct.
I don't know why he insisted
About
that.
like month, year, date.
Yeah.
It must be correctly done.
Okay. Ooh. 290.
GW. Come on. I already got it.
290.
I already got it. We're having problems with GW. That's the easiest thing.
The constitution.
What?
What? No.
Somebody's trying to give him leakage from behind the scenes. I'm confused.
Okay, no, give me another word.
It's hard. Okay, no, that's
Can
a
I
sentence.
steal his point? Because he lost me one. I won't steal his point.
No. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So guess number 1 is 290. Guess number 2 is Westlands.
It have something to do with like the constituency.
Yes! Yes!
Correct. Even though I know you were given leakage in that one. Let me say this is corruption.
Why are you really going so hard on him? What is he done to you today?
No. He's the reason I lost the point. So I must blame him. Constituency.
what
There
it
are
is.
290 constituencies.
In 1450 wards.
Okay, well done there.
You guys have your numbers right. Huh?
We got our numbers right. Okay, so it's time to get into the discussion today. Today, we're right smack in the middle of debate season.
Yes.
We have watched the Nairobi one. There was a Kiambu one. There was a Nairobi one. We've watched the DP one that happened just recently. And now we're going into the presidential debate. So, because we are in that spirit of debates, at best I thought here at the group, let's have a discussion around the whole idea of debates. You don't have to be specific about candidates and anything about that. You're going to tell us what you think are the best strategies to win, what is the best way to debate, and what you see and you want from and extract from a debate. So we'll start with you, AX, and then we'll go up from there.
Okay, so let us start at the very bottom of this knowledge tree, at the roots, and discuss the purpose of a presidential debate or a leader's debate, as they're more widely known as. The whole point of these kind of debates is to expose the political views, manifestos, and just like thinking styles of the various candidates to the public. It is an opportunity for the public to ask them questions, to interrogate their manifestos, to basically see like this person who has been on the campaign trail, are they the same on the campaign trail as they are off the campaign trail? My only qualm, issue, reservation is I'm not sure if we are doing presidential or other leaders' debates right for our election. I feel like it's for the wrong audience, but we'll get into that. That's a later discussion.
Okay, GW, first remarks.
Okay, when you guys are debating, or like, did you ever do debate? Like,
I was leading in debate.
now we talked about like strategies for debate. What was your debating style, or what were you, the first, second, or third? Like, either one used to, end the show.
I never liked beginning, because beginning you start very cold. You can't test your opponent.
Ideally, you can't, unless you're the one like, responding.
Unless you're responding. So I always liked to be the responder to something, and to come in with something so random that sort of pushes
like
guys
throws
throws them off the mark, and then now build a story. Because in a debate, you have to build a story. The only issue is, like, especially Kenyan debates, I don't know why, I don't know if you guys feel the same. Even when you watched the 2013 one, where we had Dida, he came with newspapers. You remember that? The problem many of the leaders were facing is you're given 1 minute 30 seconds, and the journalists are so strict about that time. So the guy is about to finally tell us what he's talking about. Excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, we're going to cut you off there. And the answer, we've not had the answer.
But is that the fault of the journalist, or is it the fault of the candidate for not structuring themselves well?
I think it's how it's all structured in general. Okay, so I was getting to that. So the first, one of the most famous debates, like in political history, is the one of Kennedy versus Nixon.
Yes.
And a lot of people who watched it, they watched it from their living rooms. There was no live audience for that. They just had it in a studio. And one of the reasons why candidates favored Kennedy over Nixon was just presentation. Like, he looked more clean cut, he had a better hairstyle, and they just liked his eloquence. And now, if we're trying to even apply that to the most recent debate we just saw now for Migathe and Sakaja. I mean, he came late, but somehow along the way he executed his points, I think he won people over. Now, debates in political history have now started having audiences, and the people who control those debates are the media houses, the CBSs, the NTVs, the Citizens, and you know how sitcoms are, yeah? You watch a sitcom, and then like someone, like let's say Friends, someone walks into the room and Joey makes a joke. And then there's that cued audience, like, ha 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 ha. In debates now that have audience, like a live audience, like research has shown that when the live audience is laughing, jeering, or, just reacting to what one of the candidates is saying, it has an actual, like, positive or negative effect now for the candidate.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I remember the Nixon and Kennedy one. When you watch it, what was so funny is, the story is that Kennedy, he had a sunbath, he went to the spa, he lied down on thingies. Nixon was on his notes. hitting his notes. I think he got a cold, he stubbed his toe. Like, weird things happened to him that day.
Oh, and he didn't want to put on makeup because he thought it was effeminate, but
Yes.
the makeup would have helped, like, really
young him
soften
down.
his skin.
So when he went in front of the crowd, he was sweating, he was struggling, he was going through all those things. And so Kennedy, as you said, people on TV said that they loved that Kennedy won it hands down.
Yeah.
But everyone who listened to it said Nixon
in
won.
terms of the
In terms of the substance,
Yeah.
Nixon had won. But in terms of the delivery, Nixon hadn't won. AX, why don't we go to you?
All right, so another way or another strategy that I would suggest presidential candidates use, or any candidate uses in a debate, is to be empathetic, is to be very mindful of not only your audience, but that they are also human too, and treat them as human beings.
I know where you're going with this.
okay, so like in 1992 in the presidential debate, George H.W. Bush, or as I like to call him, Daddy Bush,
Wow.
and his rival Bill Clinton were doing the presidential debate, right?
Okay.
They were doing the presidential debate. Now, whenever Bill Clinton was asked a question from the audience, he would always be like, "What's your name? Oh, that's a really nice name. Where are you from?" He'd always engage with the audience a little bit first before saying, "Thank you so much for your question. Here's the response."
Yeah.
And several times Bush was caught looking at his watch, looking around. He looked very impatient, like he had somewhere else to be.
go.
And that made the audience, not just the guys in the studio, but the guys at home being like,
apprehensive.
yeah, like
what's
what?
going?
Yeah,
Why is he so aggy?
We are not aggy, and also like, Kwani, where are you going? That's more important than this.
Yeah.
This is your platform to tell us what you think. Why are you too
struggling?
busy for us?
Yeah.
And as a result, a lot of people say that he lost that debate because he looked like aggy and looked.
So both of you are saying really the way you present yourself, even before
Really
you say
matters.
anything,
Yes.
really matters.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm going to switch it up a bit. I love debates. I love the debates that put a leader off their feet. Sometimes I feel one of the issues we have with Kenyan debates is they're very rational. The
Rational or
very rational.
Okay.
Like the debate leaders will ask very rational questions that will require a rational response, which, yeah, it's good because you get to hear what the leader is saying about certain things, but sometimes you need to be irrational with your questions, because irrational questions really reveal a lot and make a big of difference.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. You guys said America, so because you said America, I'll also go into America. And there was a presidential debate in 1988 between George Bush, the senior, this is now 4 years before the other one, and a guy called Michael Dukakis.
Yeah. No, it's Daddy Bush, then Bush Jr.'s baby Bush.
Okay. Yeah. Dukakis. So I'm going to say it was a debate between Michael Dukakis and Bush. And so when they went to the debate, this guy called Bernard Shaw, who was a renowned journalist, a real hard man, was like, okay, how am I going to... He was given like 2 days to prepare for the debate. It's like, how? And he only had one question to ask. It's like, how am I going to push these guys off their toes?
He was one of the candidates.
He was one of the journalists.
Or journalists.
So he's like, how am I going to get these guys off their toes with a question? So he spends the whole night till about 2 a.m. and then he realizes something. He's like, Dukakis is anti-war. And that...
Anti-death penalty.
Anti-death penalty, sorry. It was anti-death penalty. And so he's like, ooh, that would work. So you know what he goes? He goes and asks, Governor, if Kitty Dukakis, that's the wife, were raped and murdered, would you favor an irrevocable death penalty for the killer? That in itself is an unfair question. It's completely unfair because you've personalized it. But it worked like never before. Because Dukakis was famously against the death penalty, as we've said. And he responded very rationally by saying, no, I don't. I will not support the death. Even then, even in that period, I will not. He answered a very irrational question with a very rational response. And that, by the way, messed him up. Because guess the 3 questions, this is according to a book. There are 3 questions people came out from that debate. Are you a man? Do you have a heart? And are we similar enough that I could trust you to represent me and my values as president? And all of them answered that question hands down. No. So to me, I'd like to tell journalists, and I know maybe this is a bit unethical, ask random questions. Put these guys off their feet, because we already know their responses. We know the manifesto. We know all these things. Let's hear what they think when they're put off their feet. That's what I love about debates.
Now, I like that you've talked about the journalists. Another way in terms of the structure of debates that also we forget to think about is the journalists are always pushing like their own agenda with the media. 10 times out of 10, they are the ones who are always paying attention to the news, the ones who are always steering the conversation, etc. why not have historians? Why not have retired judges, people in academia that are not necessarily in the media, be the ones to structure these questions, because they might have a different perspective in life. Even add that, like, your everyday, like Wanjiko and Kinanjui, like, to be part of the panel and submit questions which have been pre-vetted still, but from that angle, because not every day. Who's like the most prominent journalist, you know?
The one in America.
No, it's in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeff Koinange, of course.
Yeah. Do you feel like every time that he's also presenting his questions, you also think about all his stardom, like, hey Jeffy Wasta, smoking question. Really, you even forget, like, you're watching like an interview or like a debate. It now becomes entertainment. You know what I mean?
But I guess that's the point of, I think those moments are more to sell yourself, to brand yourself, sell yourself to the public, because it's your 5 minutes under the sun. You know, the whole nation, like 50 million people, are gonna sit down and watch you speak.
And I guess the final piece of advice before we move on to the next segment is that as a candidate in this debate, remember that the debate itself is not as important as how it's covered the day after. So going into this debate, I really want you to think about what headline, like what headline do you want to be, what is the headline you want for the next day? What takeaway do you want the media to have? Is it about your character? Is it about your finesse? Is it about your points? Is it about your, I don't know, your vibe? Like, what is it? Identify it and then highlight it in your, whenever you're speaking.
And understand, substance can only take you so far.
Yeah.
In this, it's not like school where it was all about good point, good point, good point.
Need style.
You need style. Like, I remember, I'll give you this last story before we take a break. I went for a debate, and I went, and I was the rational one. I was the one with substance. The guy over there, he came. I'm gonna say he was tall. He was like 6 foot. He was skinny. He came, and in 10 seconds, he won the debate from me.
10 seconds.
I was running for treasurer of my school, and he was running for treasurer. I was not very popular, but I had the substance, and I was trusted. People knew if you gave me money, it's not going anywhere. It's gonna come back. That guy, people knew if you gave him money, he's gonna buy lunch with it or something. And unfortunately,
I really hope he's not watching the show.
I'm not mentioning. Maybe he doesn't even remember me. And unfortunately, he beat me hands down, because I went trying to beat him on the substance when I should have tried and beaten him on other fronts. So substance can only take you so far.
Okay.
Anyways, we're gonna take a break and then we'll come back and have a book club for today. We'll be back. Welcome back to Work in Progress. And now to conclude the show, we're going to bring back Book Club. With Book Club. Each of these episodes, we take one book and we dive into it in different ways, okay? So today, our book is none other than a Fort Hall College classic known as The 48 Laws of Power. And you know, here in the Fifth Estate, we're all about
Robert Greene.
We're all about Robert Greene, and we're all about power. So basically, it's a book that is about power. And to the author, power is amoral. It's not good, it's not bad, it's amoral. And it is a game. So he sifts through 3,000 years of historical events to use moments to define them through rules about how to get power. And he calls them the laws.
How to get it, how to keep it.
How to get it, how to keep it, and then that's why he calls it the 48 Laws of Power. He has written several other books, such as
The Art of Seduction,
33 Strategies of War, the 50th Law he wrote with 50 Cent.
And then there's, I think, something about human nature, like 48
the Laws of Human Nature and Mastery. Those are the books that have been New York best-selling things. He's a classical studies guy. By the way, do you know any other people who did classical
J.K. Rowling!
J.K. Rowling did classics. J.R.R. Tolkien
did classics. And it shows. It really shows in my work.
Now, current former Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, did classics, and it's all about Roman history, Greek history. It's about ancient histories and then how you can apply them to today.
Writing, yeah.
So we're each going to go through one law from Robert Greene, from the book, and describe them a bit, and then we'll conclude the show. So I'm going to start with the guy smiling at me right here, Mr. GW.
Thank you.
Tell us your law, and then from there we'll go to AX, and then I'll close.
So I just want to go in the theme of, we're just about to get to elections. And we've also just talked about debates. My law that I picked is law number 32, play to people's fantasies. And I'll just describe it a bit. The truth is ugly. That's why people hate it, avoid it, or it's just like a hard pill to swallow. So when you find a leader or a person in a position that can manufacture a fantasy, that can manufacture quick hope for you, you more than likely, more likely than not, gravitate towards that kind of a leader.
Yeah.
And we're used to it, like being sold for dreams and then being shortchanged. But we rarely remember the shortchanging.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, yo, you told me I'm going to have new shoes tomorrow. That's all I need. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or even when you go online and you see this get rich quick schemes, 6-pack in 6 days, like this, anything that will give you instant gratification is what you'll gravitate towards. And as a tool to get into power, I feel like that is very essential in amassing a following.
So play to people's fantasies. The truth is not primary, it's secondary.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
All right, the law that I liked the most was law number 20, do not commit to anyone. I wonder what that says about me. So the whole
we also wonder.
Okay, Jesus. The whole point of this law is that you, again, don't commit to anyone, but be courted by all. And he says that it says that when you hold yourself back, you incur not anger but a kind of respect. You instantly seem powerful because you've made yourself seem ungraspable. You made yourself seem a little bit mysterious, somebody nobody's going to easily
up
get.
your value.
Up to your value. Now, there are two reasons to do this. The psychological is that people who rush to the support of others tend to gain little respect in the process, right? So you want to at least hold back for a little bit, figure out what you want to do, and then make your move.
PS cars.
I'm really fond of saying that, like, even Jesus took time to draw something in the sand.
Yeah.
Like, just take your time with things. And then the practical is that you only have so much energy. If you're committing to everyone, number one, you've really committed to no one.
Yeah.
And number two, how are you going to sustain it? A lesson for you, Mr. Ruto.
A lesson for you. Okay. So, what is this book called again, Mr. GW? What is it called again?
48 Laws of Power.
Oh yes, the 48 Laws of Power. And I'm going to use my power here to overrule the whole law I said in the beginning that each of us is going to take one law, and I'm going to share 2 laws because those are my 2 favorite laws. I'm going to use my power here, okay? So I'm going to use 2 laws because they are rules that I myself follow quite strictly.
You follow
unfortunately, yes, and unfortunately now I've told the whole world, so I'll have to change up my game a little bit.
Yes.
And these are 2. Law number 3 and law number 21. So law number 3 is conceal your intentions. So one of the biggest tools in my arsenal is to conceal ambition and seem unthreatening. Look like what people used to say. I won't say what people used to call me, a teddy bear. Just look very nice. Everyone can gravitate. You're fine, and you're not going to cause any harm. And sometimes that takes you very far because one thing leaders always want is someone who can take them over. So if you conceal your intention, you can really climb the ranks very quietly with no one paying attention and do it. But then I mixed it with another rule, and it's called catch a sucker to play a sucker
to catch a sucker.
And basically in the rule he says sometimes acting dumb is a very useful tool. And he uses the story of Otto von Bismarck. And he went once for a card game. He went to negotiate for a big piece of land. And they played cards. And they're playing cards, and everyone's like, oh, what? This guy is so bad at cards. He's so useless. He's a terrible negotiator. I'm going to destroy him that morning. The morning came, and so he came with a contract, gave it to the guy who had beaten him in cards the day before, and before even winking and reading,
he signed it.
He signed it, giving away a large chunk of position of land to Otto von Bismarck, which taught me sometimes playing dumb and hiding your ambition gets you further than everything else. And my hero in that, if you've watched the Game of Thrones, is a guy called Littlefinger. Littlefinger in Game of Thrones was the master of coin in the beginning. He was easy, he was relaxed. Everyone didn't like him, but no one considered him a threat.
He was a sneaky snake.
He was slick.
But
no one considered him a threat. And he just climbed the ranks. He started with nothing. He ended up having the money, having a small kingdom. And then now when he was trying to progress beyond that, unfortunately, people discovered what he was up to.
He grew a big head.
He grew a big head. So I'll never grow a big head, but take those to the bank. Conceal your intentions and play a sucker to catch a sucker. Okay, so before we conclude today's episode, Today we are going to shout out some individuals.
Yes,
some
we
we have
do.
problems with, some we're friends with.
Hey, who are these people with problems?
I'll let you know the ones we have problems with.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so shout out time. So thank you so much to Baby Media, King Wolf, and George Karuma for watching Work in Progress. Please continue watching and let us know if you want us to talk about something or give us any feedback. We'd really appreciate it.
So my problem is with George Karuma.
Nope,
No,
it's King Wolf.
It's King Wolf. I have a problem with King Wolf, and we'll deal with it behind closed doors.
But why? No, it's fine. Let's move.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching Work in Progress, and we here at the Fort Hall School of Government will be here with you next time.